Greetings. This is an informational video on the feature of Advanced Directive in the Mental Health Care Act 2017. This act is in force since 29th of May 2018.
I am sick. I do not know what to do.
I have heard that there is a provision of advanced directives in the Mental Health Care Act 2017.
What is Advanced Directive? Advanced Directive is a written document in which the person writes about how they wish to be treated for a mental illness in a situation where they do not have capacity to make decisions regarding the same. An Advanced Directive must specify any or all of the following information. 1. The way the person wishes to be cared for and treated for a mental illness, or the way the person wishes not to be cared for and treated for a mental illness, or individuals he or she wishes to appoint as a nominated representative. For example, in the event if I, Sarita,
Have a mental illness and am not in the condition to take decisions by myself, then A. I wish to be cared for and treated as under. I wish to be admitted in a hospital which is close to my family home. I want my food to be cooked at home. If I am in a lot of pain or distress, then I wish to be given medicines to calm me, even if I don't give permission in that movement. B. I wish not to be cared for and treated as under. I do not want to be administered lithium because of its side effects. I do not want any visitors to come to the hospital to meet me. Under no circumstances do I wish to be physically restrained. At all times I will be supported by my mother, who will take decisions on my behalf since she knows me and my wishes the best.
for example,
I have been suffering from schizophrenia for 15 years and live alone. Whenever I have a serious psychotic episode, I admit myself into a hospital as I am unable to take care of myself on my own. If I am admitted, I want the hospital authorities to contact my brother on the number given below as he is my nominated representative. I do not like it if there are many people present around me in the hospital ward and would prefer getting a bed which is away from everyone else. I am scared of injections and prefer taking medicines orally. If I am very anxious, I would like to be given a sedative to calm me down and put me to sleep.
Who can make an advanced directive?
according to the MHCA, every person, whether or not they have a history of mental illness, has the right to make an advanced directive by themselves. However, minors cannot make advanced directives for themselves. Let me answer your questions, one by one. When will an advanced directive become applicable? The advanced directive is effective only when the person ceases to have capacity and is not able to make decisions regarding their mental health care and treatment. An advanced directive will remain effective till the person regains capacity. Once the person regains capacity, informed consent will have to be taken from the person before any treatment. Only the latest advanced directive can be applicable. It will override any other advanced directive which was written before the latest one. The advanced directive is not applicable to emergency treatments under the MHCA. For example, Rohan has a bipolar disorder with psychotic symptoms and is admitted in a mental hospital. He had written an advanced directive first in 2010 and subsequently another one in 2017. When he arrived in the hospital, he was able to take decisions regarding his treatment. However, a week later he lost capacity for 5 days. His advanced directive became applicable during this period. He later regained capacity for another 3 weeks, following which he lost capacity again for 10 days. The advanced directive was made applicable for this period of 10 days till he regained capacity. Both cases the doctors applied the advanced directive written in 2017. What is the procedure for making an advanced directive? Any person can simply write their advanced directive on a piece of paper, as per the format prescribed by the regulations of the Central Mental Health Authority. The advanced directive must be registered at the Mental Health Review Board in the area where the person lives. Once registered, the advanced directive will be made online with 14 days of the registration.
Can an advanced directive be changed or cancelled?
Yes. A person can change the advanced directive as many times following the same procedure mentioned previously. The latest advanced directive will cancel all previous ones.
Who can write an advance directive on behalf of a minor?
The legal guardian of a minor can make an advance directive on the minor's behalf. The same provisions will be applicable to the minor with necessary modifications suited to the minor's context.
Does the patient or caregiver have a duty to inform the medical authorities about an advance directive?
It is the duty of the person or the nominated representative to inform the medical personnel about the advance directive. They must also provide a copy of the same. The medical practitioner or MHP will not be liable for not following the valid advance directive if the copy hasn't been given to them before treatment or at the time of admission.
What is the duty of the medical personnel with respect to advance directives?
Once the medical personnel are informed of the advance directive, it is their duty to propose or give treatment to the person in accordance with the valid advance directive.
Can an advance directive be challenged?
Yes, an advance directive can be challenged before the concerned board. If you feel that the advance directive must not be followed for any reason, then you can submit an application to the concerned board. The board will conduct a hearing to give all sides a chance to put their case and finally make an order for review, modifying or cancelling the advance directive.
On what basis can the board review, modify, or alter, or cancel an advance directive?
The board can decide on an application based on 1. Free will, whether the person made the advance directive out of their own free will and was not forced to write an advance directive against their wishes. For example, Roy is an old man diagnosed with schizophrenia. He has been forced by his son to write an advance directive, on the threat that, if he does not, then the son will abandon him in an old age home. 2. Change in circumstances, whether the circumstances are different from what the person had thought while writing the advance directive. In other words, did the person intend to apply the advance directive in the new circumstances? For example, Reena is a middle-aged woman, diagnosed with depression. She wrote an advance directive in 2013 on the basis that her husband would be her caregiver and knows how she prefers to be cared for. However, recently her husband passed away. Reena did not intend to apply this advance directive in the absence of her husband. 3. Capacity, whether the person had capacity to make the advance directive or take decisions relating to their mental health care and treatment. For example, Ganesh wrote an advance directive directing that he should not be administered any medication when he loses capacity. Ganesh wrote the advance directive at a time when he did not have capacity and was unable to foresee the consequences of what he was writing. The advance directive is not applicable. 4. Contrary to law, whether the advance directive is contrary to any law or constitutional provisions in force. For example, Mark has written an advance directive saying, if he loses capacity he should be given passive euthanasia. This is contrary to the provisions of law and is not applicable. I hope I was able to answer your question so far.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. I would also like to do my advanced healthcare directive, and I would share this information with others as well.